us more of those details, plus many others that have been deployed by the national broadcaster. Honorable Mukasa, Mbidde, let's also now looking at Kenya and of course this big East African community. You rightly talked about Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 as if we are seemingly moving. But there's one thing I find within the East African community amongst the leaders that you find, for example, Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni, one would say, is very passionate about the East African community and its growth. We have Paul Kagame of Rwanda, who even at one time we saw a bit of closing a border, and I remember you coming up with a term you called the East African spirit. That was wondering, now we are talking about spirit instead of what the law says. We have Tanzania that seems to be a bit slow and hesitant on some of these things. Kenya, we wouldn't, and their pace sometimes seems fast, sometimes they're hesitant. Now, where do you see the future regarding the different political also atmospheres that you have? You have here no term limits, you have a 2-term, you have a 7-year term. Congo is in maybe shutters, you don't know. South Sudan, they're still bargaining. So what do you...
And soon, of course, Somalia, without properly a country, will also join us. I can tell you that all of those can be dealt with. Now, there is a dichotomy between the cooperation itself and bilateral relations between the countries within the East African community. Now, you have cited a lot of things, but now when you look at, of course, what happened between Rwanda and Uganda, that was not, it had nothing to do with the East African community.
But one would see the spirit of East Africa community. You have a treaty on free movement of people.
Yes, all of those treaties can exist. But when you have rebels in a country neighboring you, and that country has not taken steps into having them either arrested, evicted, or anything, you cannot leave your borders open for them to crisscross the length and width of your borders. Now that is, it had nothing to do with the East African community. And when it got solved, you saw. So, of course, that is what has given a lot of lease of life to the son of the president who actually implemented that. I can tell you, if he goes to Rwanda, he's received like a film player because he did wonders. So, that had nothing to do with the East African community. And the common market and everything. It's like when a war breaks out, all those treaties are silent. They have nothing to offer. So it goes back to what you say. Who is leading a country is very important, particularly because East Africa is not yet a country. It's not a federation. It's not. We haven't achieved the East African Federation, which is the final limb of integration. So that is that. Now it is different from a person, for example, who refuses to admit you into Tanzania, saying that you are a musician and you are likely to perform in Tanzania, yet you don't have a work permit to work there, even when you have got, for example, a special pass to do so. Now, that immigration official is committing a non-tariff offense. You get the point? Now, that person is stopping you, because now administration is divided into, for example, especially East African Community administration. If I am to describe it properly, you have the cabals sitting at the top. Those are the presidents. And probably the council of ministers. Now, those are the cabals. Now you have these, the implementers of decisions taken from top to bottom. Now the implementing authority, you can call them the apparatchik in proper English. Then the population now, those are the ragtag and bobtail. Now for them, they expect everything to be done.
You have the ragtag and bobtail, then the
apparatchik, then the cabals at the top. Now, the linkages matter. The cabals take decisions, but implementation is done by these apparatchik. And these fellows can decide not to implement certain things. Why? It depends even on their age. In Tanzania, for example, we have the oldest civil service. The oldest people in civil service, in public service are in Tanzania, throughout the East African community. Now, that is why in terms of implementation, they are the slowest ship in the convoy. they are still tainted with the Ujamaa project. They still don't think that you can just emerge from the blue and erect a skyscraper. They still have this socialism mentality that actually everything must belong to the state. Whoever works, you must be working for the community, so that by the time you can no longer work, community works for you. And that was also a measure of economic understanding. And it is, those are the people that looked at you amassing wealth and keeping it in the bank and in land titles at home as holding wealth. This is, why are you holding? You don't have trust in society tomorrow? Work for society. Society will serve you when you can no longer work. Now, we still have those people actively involved in the administration of the Tanzanian oil and sand. So when they are slower, and I can describe for you clearly the manner in which even negotiations take place, even parliament takes place, even everything, in terms of the East African community. One, Rwanda, for example, you will find that if there are 9 negotiators, there are 9 people talking, or 10, whether 5 have been outside for break and they return, they will still come and pursue the same as if they were there. One opinion. They have got one opinion. Burundi will wait for Tanzania to say anything and they will say, yeah, like our brothers have said, that's what we believe. That is Burundi. Uganda, you have got 9 delegation, a delegation of 9 people. Uganda is where you will find somebody respectfully disagreeing with the colleague. and that is Uganda. The manner in which we submit to say, I respectfully disagree with what my colleague has stated. And that is the way. Kenya, you will find clusters of 2, 4 people vending a certain opinion and 5 people vending an opinion slightly different from the 4. And because thereby reflecting the kind, like now, right now it is a 2-horse race in Kenya, and after elections they are going to elect Yala members. I can tell you that 4 members will come from one side of the coin, and 5 will come from another side, and they will be vending contrary opinions. Similar in terms of the 2 clusters. South Sudan, they don't know anything. They don't say much. They hold, first of all, South Sudan, most of them have got PhDs. Why? Because during the war, all exiles go to school. They are all professors. So, but they have a world of opinions so divergent that agreeing to a single opinion is itself now the subject of a PhD, another PhD. So I can tell you that that is how we debate. Everywhere, even negotiations. Now, Tanzanians, they will consult on every clause of an agreement you are trying to debate. They will consult on each and every clause, consulting back home. Finally, they will even consult on the signing. Now signing, they are very documented that they consulted. That is why they are the slowest ship in the convoy. I am saying this because it is correct. And for me, I'll always be accused of speaking the truth. I will never hide it. So that is how I want to be remembered. So that is the way the East African community is coached. Now, for the Congolese, I am going to leave the assembly before they arrive. And throughout the community, I don't know how they will be behaving. I was making a joke somewhere that, by the way, now we need to, because in Uganda, Parliament took a decision that there must be some holding rooms for members of Parliament with babies, so that is where they can begin now to breastfeed from after the session. So I also made an assertion that, by the way, introducing stores for guitars and all such would be important now that we are receiving
for entertainment.
Who may carry them as tools. So that is the thing. And the East African community, by the way, is working. It can be as slow as possible.
But you feel it's working in progress.
But I feel it is working.
Going back to Kenya,